Hello everyone, and welcome back to Dark Souls 2 New Game Plus Differences, and today we'll be going to face down the Demon of Song in the Shrine of Amana. Is it Amara? Amana? I can't remember. Shrine of Amana, there we go. Yeah, that's where we're going, but there is one new Black Phantom that I actually died to, but I'm not going to show you that death because it was kind of bad. The only reason I died was because I made a foolish mistake late in the fight, but this thing is quick. It hits fairly hard, and it swings very quickly. Hardest thing about this one is finding the right place to fight it. If you use a shield, this is a lot easier. If you don't, well, you better find some area where you can actually move around fairly quickly. Which, if I were you, would probably be on this little narrow stretch of rock, which isn't really a good place to do dodging, I know. I'm not a master of the dodging arts or anything, but I can't imagine fighting on this little strip of rock is exactly a good idea in the long run. But as you can see, it swings very quickly, and if you're not prepared for it, it can lead to death. Well, pretty much the same, fairly quickly. On to the actual boss fight. This boss fight took me a very long time, comparatively speaking. It's not a difficult boss fight in the least. I don't know what took so long. Actually, no, I do know it took so long, is because I've forgotten a certain aspect of this fight. In my experience, this fight, the only time you can actually hurt the thing is one, when it's not covering its head like that, and two, you hit its arms, its exposed arms. If you try and hit its exposed face, as you'll see, it doesn't really work unless you're in the exact correct placement. I mean, the best piece of advice defensively, as you see, it didn't do anything. The best defensive place to do, or best defensive thing to do, is to always be sprinting to the right or left while looking at the thing. Because if you do not, this thing has, I think, two ways at least to screw up your day if you're just running right towards it or you're running right away from it. I think they are a dive or a tackle maneuver, and of course the infamous jumping. I guess that's three. And the third one, which is he spits water, sort of like Squirtle's, yeah, that. Kind of like Squirtle's mini water gun. And I think, was that water gun in the Pokemon animated series? I don't remember, it's been years since I watched it, but the point is, always be sprinting to the right or left. Unless you are out of stamina, in which case just jog to your right or left, and then preferably start sprinting rather soon. So yes, you're probably going, Barak, it's been a minute and a half. You've done one bit of damage, and it was from a great bow. Are you seriously going to be fighting this thing with a great bow? Yes. Yes, I am. Because during the making of this fight, or during the recording of this fight, I couldn't really, I mean, you saw me, I hit the thing in what I thought was the exposed face 2 or 3 times. Nothing ever worked. I do eventually figure out if you can hit its arms, and it actually does damage, but again, this fight's really just don't be stupid. It's simply don't get right near it, don't just sit in front of it, and basically learn its attacks and know how to get out of the way of them, basically like any fight in Dark Souls. The worst thing about this boss, if you are careless, is that water gun, or whatever you want to call that, stream of water. That really hurts. I think I get hit by it once in this fight, but you'll see that it does a lot of damage and can potentially stun lock you if you're not lucky. And if you get hit 3 times with it, you die. With my health, 2 times with it, I'm in very low health. But yes, a bow is a satisfactory solution if you prefer range. It's easier range. That's the dive or the tackle I told you about. If you're not running to the right or left, you will get tackled from that. And I don't know how much it hurts though, but I'm imagining being hit by a giant frog trying to tackle you probably doesn't feel very good. But that's just me using common sense. So, beyond that, this fight is like fighting a giant frog. I mean, can you think of anything else? See, in my defense, I hit that thing's arm. It didn't do any damage. I thought, well, crap. Yes, that's how much that hurts. Yes, it's very bad. So, remembering to... Oh, my voice is breaking up. I'm sick, so I'm sorry. But Yeah, remembering to run back and forth, fairly important in this fight, more than probably just about any other tactic. The only other one is don't go near the thing when it has its shield of sorts up. And when I say shield, I mean it peels its skin over its face, which I never thought I would use those words in cohesion together, at least not in that order. Peels its skin over its face. It's like I'm describing some form of horror movie, like monster. Which I guess if you look at it, it would fit that. It would fit that. It would work. Now, I don't think you can hit it in its... I guess you could technically hit it in its hind legs, but I don't think it does any damage. I think the only part that does damage is either its face, if you use a bow, or its little gangly arms when it's vulnerable. But if you want to hit the arms, you've got to go in from the side and make sure you don't hit anything that will bounce the weapon, whatever it is, in my case an ultra great sword, off of it like it did before. Beyond that, this boss doesn't really have a whole lot of danger to it. I mean, the most dangerous part about this fight is just not being caught unaware of, a giant thing falling right towards you. Gives you plenty of time to get the hell out of the way of it. So, I mean, if you can't dodge this boss's attacks, you're even worse at dodging than I am, and I recommend practicing. I'm not going to insult you if you are worse than me in dodging. Goodness knows I'm not very good at it, so I feel your pain. But this boss, there's no choice of, oh, I want to block everything. I don't know if you can block these attacks. I've never actually tried it. I would assume you could block like that, where he just swings with his arms, but you don't want to try and block anything where he jumps on top of you or tackles you, because you ain't going to be able to stop that mass, that inertia coming right at you. Theoretically, so that wouldn't work. This is all theoretical. I don't know if you can block. You might be able to block those attacks. I don't know, but that's just my guess. Yeah, that. I wouldn't try blocking that if I were you, but I do think they probably should have made the tail kind of like a weak spot and be able to chop things' tails off. I miss chopping off dragons' tails. I don't know if anybody else out there, I miss that. Oh, sure, it was a pain in the butt, and you had to do everything just right if you were by yourself, but that was the challenge, man. I loved trying to cut off Calameet's tail the first time. That was a funny video, man. Now, at the time, it was quite frustrating at the time, but I should get back on the topic of this boss fight, not on my other videos. Yeah, this boss fight, you could bring in a summon, but this is arguably, in my opinion, the easiest boss of Dark Souls 2, except maybe, like, well, I don't want to say, well, I was going to say the Dragon Rider and I forget what the place with Ornstein. I forget the name of that place, though. It's like the second place you go to. Or I guess some people went there first. I didn't go there first, but yeah, that place. So as long as you know where to swing, this boss fight's easy. If you don't know where to swing, this boss fight's going to take a hell of a lot longer than it should, as referencing by this video. So hopefully this helped you in some way learn how or where to strike the Demon of Song. And as always, if you'd like to help support the channel, you may wish to like or even subscribe for easier access to future videos. Hopefully I shall see you later. If any comments, suggestions, or what have you, please leave them in the comments below. I look forward to hearing from you. Farewell, everyone.